insisting on what the challenges are because most of them say they have no idea what to do. What do they tell you is the main concern, according to them? What is the challenge, especially the women you deal with?
All right. Thank you very much, Trevor. And from your statement that most women say that they don't know what it is, I think when we go down to at the community level, first of all, when you ask them, what is climate change? Sometimes they're not able to tell you what climate change, whether you are in Turkana, whether you are in Makueni, you have to translate what climate change means in the local language. So most of the time they'll talk about drought or they'll talk about floods. So, for example, when we went, we did some research in Turkana, and we asked them, what changes have you seen in the weather, maybe in terms of drought? Then they'll say that, before drought used to come after 10 years, but now every year they're facing drought. And they don't know what they've done to their gods. That's what they say. But also, when Kenya Meteorological Department do the modeling 40 years, maybe from 1963, then they find that before, drought used to happen after a long period of time, and now it's almost happening on a yearly basis. And if also they do modeling in the future, then they see that drought will recur more kind of frequently. And also when you go to certain part of the country, they'll tell you that the weather has changed. The weather is strange because the rains come when they don't want them. And when they want the rains don't come. So from this kind of conversations, it shows that the community is aware that there are some changes happening in their environment. But also we are very interlinked in this climate change. That's why when you told me that you're bringing in Odengo and you're bringing in Nicholas, I was like, oh, I know them, because under the Adaptation Consortium, I was also a technical advisor under a big program, which was the Stack Plus program, but then it was funded by the DFID, which is now FCDO, that's the UK funding, and also the DAI. So I had the opportunity to go and evaluate. I was evaluating all the programs which are under the Stack Plus, and Adaptation Consortium was one of them. And I went to Isiolo, but one of the innovations that now they're having is called public participation. So when you go to, I'm hearing people saying that, oh, you're only talking about trees, but even that trees that everyone keep on saying that when you talk about climate change, we're doing trees, are they doing it the right way? Are they growing fruit trees? Do they know the trees that they need to grow locally? Are they growing trees for firewood and all that? But here is a case where we're talking about water management. So when we went here where Adaptation Consortium was working, they asked community, how do you want to manage your water resources? And they say that they have this dam here, and this dam is polluted because it's not fenced. So the cows come and they drink from the same one, and there's evaporation and there's mismanagement. And also women say that when they cook with this water, they get a lot of health-related diseases. So they ask, what do you want to do about this water? So they say, we want this water, first of all, to be fenced. After fencing, the pastoralist says, we want this water, we want you to build for us some traps so that the livestock can drink from this side. And the women said, we want also you to pump the same water on the other side so that we can have water kiosks. So eventually when we went here, we find kind of this setup. Because water was fenced, the pastoralists were happy, the male pastoralists, because their cows were drinking from there, and the women were happy. And actually, they were selling this water at a very low prices, and businesses were sprouting just around there. So it shows how community can come up with an idea on even how to manage their water. And also went to some part of Isiolo, and the community, when they were asked, what do you want in terms of climate change? And they said, we don't even have an FM radio station. So in Nairobi here, where you're spoiled, like you can have so many radio stations, this community had never had a radio station. And they say, when you have this radio station, then you can talk about climate change issues, you can talk about development issues. And Allah says, you cannot separate climate change issues from development. Development is climate change, and climate change is development. You have to integrate the two. So actually, we went there with the people from FCDO and all that. And the community was so excited, plus the chief, because we're launching the first FM radio station, and even just launching radio station where the community can have the right information to farm, to manage their livestock and all that. Because also sometimes when you talk about agriculture, we tend to talk about crop farmers. But when you talk about agriculture, we're talking about the fisher folks. And one of the biggest thing in climate change now is the blue economy. And also when we talk about agriculture, we're talking about the pastoralists, because 80% of this country is arid and semi-arid. So how do we manage that? So there are varied things, and that one we've not even moved to the area of energy, because energy is mitigation under climate change. We're in a country where we have 10% of forest cover, and you find that over 60% of the population is still using firewood. So how do counties going to transition into green energy.
All right. And Mr. Deng, I like the direction that Dr. Omollo